Welcome back to On the Block, guys, and as always, I'm your host, SoHo. Today we have a very special guest coming through. If you haven't heard his adventure that went down over the summer, by the end of this video, you will. So what are we waiting for? Let's get him out here. Come on out, SoHo. Yeah, what's good? What's good? How y'all doing? Yo, what's good, SoHo? How many times did you watch that thing?
With the jokes already straight out the gate, huh? I'm not even surprised.
But to be honest, three times. I'm sure that wasn't enough. But before we get deep into the neck brace, tell us how it all started.
It all started with COVID, the first strain, not the second one. And work started to get really slow, less hours and less days. Weekend came and I was home and I didn't have to work till Monday. And I was like bored. And then I remember that one of the homies, Katie from Florida, I extended an invitation that if I ever wanted to come down there, I could just crash at her spot. And in this particular weekend, I wanted to cash out that offer. Yo, can I pull up this weekend? She said, yeah, sure. And I bought my flight, $60 round trip, grabbed my low pro, took it apart, made a bike box out of these 8 random boxes that I had in the house. You know, I'm an engineer like that. I had my homegirl Adi pull up and watch cinema, so I didn't have to worry about it. But once I knew cinema was good, I left early in the morning. I took a cab to LaGuardia Airport and I was flying Spirit. I actually didn't take a flight to Miami. There were none available. I took a flight to Fort Lauderdale. After an hour and a half of GPSing my way, I made it to Katie's. Hung out with her, Victor, and other homie. And the highlight of the trip had to be like riding over the bridges and the scenery, because there's a lot of bridges in Miami. Islands over there too, and we just got to ride to a few of those islands. And that's kind of sick. It almost feels like you're not even in the United States anymore. It feels like you're in a Caribbean country. And it's funny too saying that, because when I was riding down one road, it just gave me a sense of nostalgia of being back home in Honduras. That just made me even more happy to be there.
You smoke? Yeah, man, I like that shit. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that ride sober either.
Time is almost up in Miami. And I get an email notification from Spirit stating that my flight is canceled. So I told Katie the situation and I'm like, yo, can I stay a couple extra days because my flight got canceled? She said, yeah, sure. The next day comes, I reschedule my flight gets canceled again. That's twice. I'm like, no way this is happening. But at the same time, I wasn't too surprised because it's COVID. But at the same time, I took the plane here with like 15 people. What's the problem getting back with another 15? Things starts to get a little shaky with the airlines, right? If they cancel my flight one more time, I'm riding to New York. We go back to doing Florida shit. And then guess what? The next day, I look at my phone and it's like, oh, your flight has been canceled. Cancel number 3, I'm not with the shit. So I looked at Kate, I'm like, yo, I'm riding to New York Friday. I made a post, I'm like, yo, on Friday, I'm riding from Miami to New York City. You already know, gang, gang, gang. Before Friday came, I got a lot of support from the homies, New York homies, and I got a lot of donations to get supplies that I will need for the trip. I'm truly grateful for that. First person to actually send me a donation was Sunyan, and he sent me a donation to get a tent. Thank you, bro. I wasn't doing this trip without weed. I think the main reason why I did it is because I had weed. Shout out to Mario because he actually informed me that weed is a good anti-inflammatory. And I wasn't really nervous, I was more excited. I had one more final safety meeting with the homies, and they escorted me in the direction that I needed to go to start my trip. I came to Miami with 2 ratios, 48-14 for my chill shit, and the 14 for when I want to drop the hand. The first person I actually got to meet up with was the homie Gio. He's actually from New York. He told me, yo, what are you riding? I'm like, 48-18. He's like, you don't got another ratio? I'm like, yeah, I got a 14. He's like, yo, flip that. Flat out here, you'll be flying. I mean, like, you know what? My ministry professional, you know what you're talking about. So I flipped that 14 and I was flying. So I was boom. And that's when I started seeing the 100 a day. Boom, century, boom, century, another century.
The first time I ever actually camped out. And for my first camping experience, it was great. The first couple of nights, I was kind of scared, I'm not gonna lie. As the days went on, the nights went on, and I kept riding forward, I became less afraid and more connected with nature. Oh man, especially when those stars came out at night. I remember tearing at night when I saw the Georgia stars for the first time. They were just that beautiful.
8 centuries. Following that, I think it rained a lot. After that, I was just banging out centuries after centuries. I rode my entire ride through the East Coast Greenway, which is a path that leads all the way from the Keys to like Maine. 30% of the strip was self-routing. A lot of looping and trails that went out of my way. But for the most part, when I did the trails, it was beautiful. There was the scenery, little baby turtles across your path. I went from Miami to Georgia, I believe, in like 2 days. I was so excited when I crossed that border. And I thought it was gonna be like national security or some shit at each border. It's like, nah, you just walk. It's mad chill.
I actually stayed at the Walkabout Camp and RV Park. It's my first pit stop to spend the night. I was tired and ready to camp out. Another century later, I made it to Savannah, where I got to link up with the homie Tevin and Darius. They let me crash out at their crib for a day or two. I read up on some bud and made my way on to South Carolina. When I got to South Carolina, if I remember this correctly, the homie Dorian actually pulled up in the whip. That night I camped out at Georgetown, South Carolina. When I arrived to North Carolina, the first person I linked up with was Cordell. I was mad hyped. Stuck around for a bit and resupplied me with some tubes and clothing in a frame bag, which was a lifesaver because now I had somewhere to carry my portable.
I hung out with the twins in North Carolina. That was lit. They pulled up mad late and brought me a birdcage bag. And then I made it to Virginia. When I got to Virginia, I actually stayed at the homies Brian Burr's crib. Shout out to Burr for letting me stay in his crib. And that's the first time I did some blow in Virginia too. He let me crash at his crib for 2 nights in a day. Re-up on tubes, tires, and get my energy back. Brian went to work and I started my journey to continue on to New York. And right now at this point, I'm headed to DC. Before I started the trip, I picked up some whiskey, cycling a bottle full to the top. Because you know, once it's 5 o'clock, I'll try to get a little loose and finish the rest of my ride. You'd think I was doing 100 miles sober, you're wrong. I'm riding towards DC, routing, looking at the map, I start drinking.
Mike.
This is for making it to Georgia. Oh, it burns. Keep riding, motherfucker. You better hit at least like 100 tomorrow, man. That 50 miles a day shit ain't rocking. Nah, seriously though, man. We're all pulling for you. Let me know.
Cheers to you, SoHo.
And then boom, boom. By 11 o'clock, I think that bottle is gone. That's when it all happened. That's when I got hit. And I don't remember getting hit. Everything was just like, I just remember waking up and I don't know if I wasn't for the IG story that I recorded, I don't think I remember it happened. Dim end to the ride. After you got hit from behind, you went to the hospital. So tell us what happened. I got hit nearby a hospital. I wasn't taken to the hospital because apparently they didn't have a trauma center. So I was taken to the hospital and I was told that I broken my neck in 3 places. C1, C2 or something like that. But it was just small cracks. I didn't have to have surgery, just wear a neck brace. I wasn't wearing a helmet and I was drunk. I had to wear the neck brace for estimated 2 months. I turned my neck, I can hear like my neck kind of stretch. I got 8 staples on my head. Now I got a nice little sweet scar. If it wasn't for the homie Dorian and Joe, I honestly wouldn't know how I would have got home. But I do know that I did get home because of them. Support that you got from the community was mind-blowing and truly unexpected. Just doing another tour ride like this? Fuck yeah.
Also, shout out to the Asian girl who randomly sent me a titty pic. If the tent is a rockin', don't come on knocking.